If you're waking up at 3 a.m., don't ignore this. You're waking up at 3 a.m. again. You check the clock. 3:07 a.m. You stare at the ceiling. You try to fall back asleep, but something inside you feels wide awake. Most people shrug it off. They blame caffeine or stress. But what if I told you it's not insomnia? What if waking up at this sacred hours is not a problem, but a message? Yes, it's inconvenient. But what if it's divine? A cosmic nudge, a spiritual alarm bell, a moment when God is closer to you than ever before, whispering into your soul when the rest of the world sleeps. Because between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., science says the mind enters its deepest subconscious states, and spirituality says the veil between worlds is at its thinnest. What if your soul is being summoned, not your body? Carl Jung, the master of the unconscious, once warned us, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Translation: if you don't listen to what's trying to wake you up, you'll keep repeating the same emotional cycles, the same pain, the same confusion, and call it destiny. But tonight, and every night that follows, something deeper is calling you. Not the outside world, but your inner world. A download, a breakthrough, a truth that wants to rise. This is not random. If you're waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. regularly, this is a spiritual high alert. You're not just awake, you're being invited to reflect, to reconnect, to rewrite your life before the sun even rises. And once you understand what this hour is truly about, you'll never look at 3 a.m. the same way again. Chapter 1. The Fourth Watch, God's Secret Window. There's a moment in the night and when the world is silent, when the city sleeps, when even dreams seem to fade into the void. It's between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. It's called the Fourth Watch. Most people know nothing about it. But in ancient times, this wasn't just late night, it was God's window. Back then, the night was divided into 4 sacred watches. Each one had a spiritual significance. But the fourth watch, the last one before sunrise, was considered the most powerful and the most dangerous. Because that's when the battle between light and darkness peaks. Heaven opens up, but so does hell. It's the hour when angels descend with divine messages, but also the hour when demons whisper lies into the half asleep. Your soul stands between 2 forces, one trying to wake you, the other trying to keep you numb. This is not superstition, this is sacred timing. Even in scriptures, this hour is divine. Remember the story of Jacob in Genesis 32:26. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." He wrestled with what scholars believe was an angel, all night, in agony, in spiritual confrontation, and when the sun began to rise, something profound happened. Jacob was no longer Jacob. He was reborn. His name changed. His identity transformed. His destiny shifted from a struggling man to Israel, the father of a nation. And that entire battle, that encounter of soul and spirit, happened during the fourth watch. You see, God doesn't wake you at 3 a.m. to annoy you. He wakes you to invite you, to wrestle with your doubts, to confront your fears, to rise out of your labels and step into your higher name, to move from wounded to warrior, from surviving to chosen. Because this hour is more than a time. It's a portal, a thin veil between dimensions, a sacred conversation waiting to happen. And if you dare to sit in stillness at this hour, if you dare to say, "God, I'm listening," you may not hear thunder, but you'll feel a shift. You'll feel your name start to change. Not the one they gave you, but the one you were born for. So the next time you wake at 3 a.m., don't roll over and sigh. Sit up, whisper a prayer, open your journal, ask your soul what it wants to say, because you're not being disturbed, you're being summoned. And just like Jacob, you may walk out of this hour transformed from confusion to clarity, from broken to whole, from lost to chosen. Chapter 2, First Thing. Pray like a warrior. Let's not sugarcoat it. You've been under attack, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You've been feeling the pressure, the confusion, the anxiety, and maybe you thought it was just life, But it's not random, it's war. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., darkness moves differently. This isn't a myth, this is scripture. Matthew 13:25 says, "But while men slept, the enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat." Translation: while you're sleeping, the enemy is planting fear, planting confusion, planting poverty, doubt, disconnection, generational curses. And yet, you woke up, you stirred, you rolled over and checked the clock. That wasn't a glitch, that was a divine alarm. Because you weren't called to scroll, you weren't called to sigh and roll back into the dream. You were called to war. This is the hour of divine disruption, when God whispers, "Rise, my watchman." Because prayer is not passive. It's power. It's the sword that slashes through darkness. It's the key that locks every demonic plan before it reaches your doorstep. So pray. Pray like everything depends on it, because it does. Bind every lie the enemy tried to plant in your sleep. Cancel every curse, every generational pattern, every self-destructive thought. Declare your victory out loud, not because you're confident, but because your spirit remembers who fights for you. Because here's what the devil fears most: a believer who wakes up early and prays. When you rise in that sacred hour, you're not just protecting yourself, you're standing in the gap for your family, your children, your legacy, and every soul tied to your breakthrough. You're not just a Christian. You're not just a believer, you're the watchman. Ezekiel 33:6 says, "If the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, I will hold the watchman accountable." This hour wasn't handed to you by accident. You've been assigned. You were given spiritual sight, and because there's a sword on the horizon, and your voice, your prayer, is the trumpet. So blow it. Wake the heavens, alert the angels, shut the gates of hell. Because when you speak, God moves. When you rise, strongholds fall. When you pray, your family is covered. This is not the time to sleep. This is the time to stand, to cover, to fight, to break what tried to break you. Because in this war, silence is surrender. And your prayer? That's the victory anthem. Chapter 3. Second thing. Meditate, listen to God you've just finished praying. Calling down heaven, breaking curses, covering your bloodline. But now comes the part most people skip. Silence. Because here's a truth that might shake your entire spiritual life. God doesn't always shout, he whispers. And his whisper isn't weak, and it's strategic. Because he speaks loudest when the world is quietest. And guess when the world is the quietest? Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. This is the hour when your external distractions are asleep, and your internal world is wide awake. Your mind is still. Your soul is listening. Your spiritual antenna is fully extended. Even psychology backs this up. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious mind becomes most receptive during altered states, dream states, meditative states, early morning awakenings. He taught that this is when the deepest insights, visions, and internal guidance can rise without interference from the ego. And the Bible echoes this wisdom. Job 33:15 says, "God speaks in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men." Translation? When your mind is resting, your spirit starts receiving, not just dreams, but divine downloads. This is when God will give you an idea that could shift your business, a warning to protect you from danger, a strategy to unlock your next breakthrough, a word to heal your deepest wound, a blueprint to fulfill your purpose. But here's the thing, you won't hear it if you don't make space for it. So after you pray, don't scroll, don't pace, don't reach for your phone, do the opposite. Sit in stillness. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts settle. Let your soul lean in. This is not some routine. This is a divine conversation between your higher self and the God who formed you. Have a journal next to you, not because it's a trend, but because that one line that drops into your spirit at 3:27 a.m. It might be the answer you've been crying out for since 2019. Don't dismiss it. Write it down. Treasure it. Because many people pray, but only a few listen. You've already asked God for the breakthrough. Now give him the space to respond. In this sacred window, the most powerful prayers are not spoken, they are received. And what you receive in this hour can shift your entire lifetime. Chapter 4. Third thing. Speak life into your day. You've prayed, you've listened, you've received. Now, you speak. And let's get one thing crystal clear. Your words are not sounds. They are weapons. Most people wake up and casually mumble their way into the day. They check their phone, get distracted by chaos, and unknowingly speak curses over their own path. Ugh, it's going to be one of those days. I'm so tired of this job. Nothing ever works out for me. And then they wonder why their day spirals, why delays happen, why heaviness follows them like a shadow. But here's what you need to understand. The universe is listening. The spirit realm is responding. Your subconscious mind is recording every word and treating it as instruction. Proverbs 18:21 didn't say words are influential. It said, life and death are in the power of the tongue. That means your tongue is a throne. It decides what lives and what dies in your life. So between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the most spiritually potent hours of the day, don't just whisper fear into the silence. Speak life. Say it with fire in your voice. I walk in divine favor. I cancel every curse sent against me and my family. Every delay is broken. This is my season of acceleration. My name is being brought up in rooms I haven't entered yet. This day bows to the name of the Lord, and nothing formed against me shall prosper. Because here's the divine principle. What you don't command, the enemy will claim. That means if you don't speak over your mind, fear will. If you don't speak over your finances, lack will. If you don't speak over your health, disease will. If you don't speak over your business, stagnation will. You think silence is safe. In the spiritual realm, silence is surrender. But when you rise and speak with faith plus authority, you're sending out instructions, orders, decrees. Your business starts aligning. Your body starts healing. Your atmosphere starts clearing. Not because magic happened, but because your mouth aligned with God's will. Now don't miss this next part. Even Jesus Christ, the Son of God, understood this sacred time. Mark 1:35 says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Let's pause. Jesus, the one with divine access to heaven, still woke up before the sun, still went into solitude, still spoke and prayed into his day. Why? Because even he operated under a principle you and I often ignore. Early hours, spiritual leverage, solitude, clarity from noise, words, spiritual command. If he needed that hour to recharge, realign, and reset his day, who are we to skip it? That's why, bro, you can't afford to sleep through it anymore. Wake up, declare over your purpose, speak into your income, cover your health, command your peace, prophesy over your destiny. Because when you declare in the darkness, you activate light before the sun even rises. So here's your morning activation checklist. Number 1. Speak protection. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Number 2. Speak provision. I lack nothing. I walk in supernatural abundance. Number 3. Speak clarity. My mind is focused, peaceful, and aligned with purpose. Number 4. Speak authority. I am not chasing favor. Favor is chasing me. Number 5. Speak gratitude. Thank you, God, for the blessings I haven't even seen yet. And don't just say it once. Repeat it. Saturate the atmosphere. Let the spiritual realm know you are not stepping into this day passively, but you are taking territory. Because guess what? Today is not just a day, it's a battlefield. And if you don't show up with your armor on, the enemy doesn't need permission. He'll steal your peace, your time, your joy, your focus. So speak, loud, bold, with your chest. Let your voice announce to every force in heaven, earth, and hell, this day is mine. I walk in divine assignment. I am covered, chosen, and unstoppable. Final punchline. Your words are not echoes, they are creation codes, so build carefully, declare deliberately, and watch how your day bends to the sound of your faith. Chapter 5. Your spiritual evolution depends on this, let's be clear. This hour, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., isn't about having a perfect morning routine. It's not about becoming a productivity guru. It's about something much deeper, your evolution. Because your soul doesn't grow by chance, it grows by response. And when God keeps waking you up in the middle of the night, that's not a random glitch in your sleep schedule. That's a sacred invitation. But here's the warning. The more you ignore this divine alarm, the more spiritually numb you become. Your spirit hardens, your sensitivity dulls, your ears stop hearing, and worst of all, your calling goes silent. Why? Because you trained your soul to sleep through the sacred. You chose noise over stillness, scrolling over surrender, control over connection. And the result? You wake up feeling empty. You walk through the day feeling disconnected. You crave something, but you don't know what, because your spiritual compass is off. But here's the good news. You can recalibrate. You can realign. The moment you say yes to this 3 a.m. prompting, the moment you rise in obedience, you begin your evolution. Your spiritual muscles grow, your intuition sharpens, your discernment deepens, your atmosphere shifts. You begin walking in divine rhythm instead of daily chaos. The more you respond to this sacred hour, the more heaven starts trusting you with deeper insights, with hidden strategies, with spiritual responsibility. Because God doesn't waste secrets on the distracted. He whispers to those who sit in silence. So what can you do in this hour to evolve? Play worship music. Let the frequencies elevate your vibration. Pray in tongues. Let your spirit speak mysteries your mind can't access. Journal your dreams. God speaks in symbols. Don't let divine downloads fade by morning. Ask deep questions, not surface level. Ask, God, what part of me needs to die so I can evolve? Sit in surrender. Not every morning needs action. Sometimes your presence is the offering. This isn't a ritual. This is a reconnection. Because this hour is not just for warriors, and it's for the becoming, the unlearning, the remembering. It's the hour where you shed who you were to meet who you were always meant to be, and that version of you, the evolved you. He doesn't live on autopilot. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't numb himself with noise. He listens. He waits. He responds. And every time you obey that divine alarm, you become more of him and less of who the world shaped you to be. Because this isn't just another day. This is the day where alignment happens, where portals open, where legacy begins. So don't hit snooze on heaven. Wake up, lean in, and evolve. Your soul has waited lifetimes for this moment. Chapter 6. Don't hit snooze on your assignment. You've prayed, you've listened, you've declared, you've evolved. Now comes the final test, obedience. Because what's the use of all this spiritual awakening if you go back to sleepwalking through life? Let's be real, most people wake up inspired, but fall asleep in distraction. They feel the call at 3:17 a.m. They sense the divine tug, but they roll over. And by sunrise, the moment is gone. Here's the truth that most ignore. Every time you hit snooze on that divine prompting, you delay your assignment. This is not just about feeling peaceful. This is about stepping into the mission you were born for. Because if you're being awakened in this sacred window, you're being entrusted with more vision, more clarity, more spiritual authority. Not for status, but for service. There's a generation waiting on your obedience. Your children's future is tied to your yes. The doors that are supposed to open depend on your decision not to go back to sleep. Jesus didn't just pray at dawn for fun. He understood the weight of his calling. And if you're feeling this urge night after night, it means you too are carrying something sacred inside. So the next time God taps your soul in the still of the night, don't ignore it. Don't treat that holy nudge like a random dream. Don't dismiss that restlessness in your chest. Don't silence the whisper that says, wake up, there's more. Because here's the bottom line. There is more. More than bills, more than deadlines, more than stress. There's divine purpose waiting to be fulfilled. And God isn't just inviting you to pray. He's inviting you to participate, to say, here I am. Use me. I will not let this world numb what you've placed in me. Because at 3 a.m. the world is silent, but heaven is speaking. Will you listen? Will you rise? Will you answer? Because when you do, your life will no longer be ordinary. It will be assignment-driven, and every day will start with power, peace, and divine precision. This isn't just about sleep. This is about your legacy. Chapter 7. The final gift. Walk in alignment, not just awake. Waking up at 3 a.m. is powerful, but let's be honest. There's a big difference between being awake and walking aligned. Awareness without alignment is wasted energy. Many people wake up, feel the tug, get inspired, but then return to routines that suffocate their soul. They go back to the same patterns, the same cycles, the same choices that disconnect them from everything they prayed for. This is the final gift God gives you in that sacred hour, alignment. Not just a morning ritual, not just a goosebump spiritual moment, but a life shift, where everything you do, from your conversations to your money habits to your relationships, starts reflecting the new version of you. Because heaven doesn't just want to wake you up, it wants to walk with you. And alignment means choosing the higher road every single day, even when it's not popular, even when it's not comfortable, even when it costs you old versions of yourself. Here's the truth that hurts before it heals. You cannot stay aligned with heaven and stay attached to dysfunction. You cannot hold on to clarity and chaos at the same time. You can't hear divine instruction if you're addicted to outside noise. So if you want to stay aligned beyond the 3 a.m. moment, you've got to clean house, spiritually, mentally, physically, and that means asking yourself the hard questions. Is this relationship growing me or draining me? Is this habit anchoring my future or sabotaging it? Because alignment isn't about perfection, it's about integrity. It's choosing to walk in sync with the truth you received in the quiet hour. It's honoring the version of you that heaven whispered into. And that means not just journaling dreams, but living them. Not just saying amen at 3:33 a.m., but saying no to distractions at 3 p.m. Alignment is costly. It requires sacrifice, but that's the price of purpose. Remember, God never gave you a vision to torment you. He gave it to invite you into a reality you were born for. But visions don't manifest just because you saw them. They manifest when your steps match what your spirit saw. So what does alignment look like after the prayer ends? You set boundaries where there used to be excuses. You say no to shortcuts that dishonor your calling. You move with clarity instead of emotional chaos. You stop trying to convince people who were never assigned to understand your journey. It means becoming okay with being misunderstood. It means being loyal to your assignment, even if it costs you validation. Because when you're aligned, you don't need applause. You walk with peace. And peace is the loudest confirmation that you're walking in the right direction. The aligned version of you doesn't chase, it attracts, doesn't force, it flows, doesn't doubt, it discerns. Because that version of you is no longer trying to survive the day. They're here to command it. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., remember, that moment is a mirror. It's not just there to show you the divine, it's there to show you you, who you really are, what you really carry, what you've outgrown, and what you're stepping into. But awareness without alignment is just noise. So make the shift. Let your decisions match your prayers. Let your lifestyle reflect your downloads. Let your walk mirror your calling. Because the world doesn't need another person who's spiritually awake but emotionally reckless. It needs you, fully aligned, the real you, the healed you, the version of you who says, I'm done shrinking to fit into small spaces. I'm done apologizing for my anointing. I'm done entertaining chaos just to feel connected. You are not here to live in loops. You are here to lead, to build, to awaken others just by how deeply you walk in truth. And that begins not just at 3 a.m., but at every moment after. So today, speak it loud. I walk in alignment. I live in obedience. I carry divine assignment. I am who God says I am, no more, no less. And when the world pulls, and the noise returns, and the old patterns whisper, just smile. Because you've already been claimed by something greater, and your steps now carry the rhythm of heaven. Chapter 8. The Outro. This is your spiritual renaissance. You thought it was just a wake-up call at 3 a.m. But now you see, it was your rebirth, not just into a new morning, but into a new identity. This wasn't about fixing your schedule. It was about breaking your cycle, the fear, the confusion, the emotional numbness. All of it was a prison. And this sacred hour was the jailbreak. You've been entrusted with something holy. Not because you're perfect, but because you're available. God didn't call the qualified. He qualified the one who answered the call. And guess what? That's you. You didn't roll over. You didn't hit snooze. You rose. You listened, you prayed, you aligned, you declared, and now you walk. Not in shame, not in fear, but in full-blown spiritual renaissance. You carry peace that confuses your past. You walk in favor that your enemies can't block. You glow with wisdom that can't be taught, because it was revealed. And the best part? You're just getting started. Because this new you, this evolved you, isn't just here to survive. You're here to awaken the world by the way you move through it. With purpose, with presence, with power. Chapter 9. The Science of Why 3AM Works. Subconscious Gateway Unlocked. You've felt the pull, you've seen the signs, you've heard the whispers, but now, let's break it all down, scientifically. Because what happens at 3 a.m. isn't just spiritual, it's neurological. This is the hour when your brain waves shift, your conscious mind takes a back seat, and your subconscious, the most powerful part of you, takes the throne. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your brain enters theta state, the same state used in deep hypnosis and visionary meditation. Why does that matter? Because your theta brain is a sponge. It absorbs suggestions, it rewrites patterns, it stores affirmations like software, and turns them into operating systems. In short, this is when manifestation becomes magnetic. This is when declarations take root. This is when trauma can be rewritten and healed. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And guess what? At 3 a.m., that unconscious becomes available, accessible, malleable. So when you pray at 3 a.m., you're not just speaking to heaven. You're reprogramming your internal universe, your beliefs, your identities, your self-worth. Most people try to fix their life by forcing external change. New job, new partner, new goals. But neuroscience proves real change comes from changing the subconscious blueprint, and that only happens when you bypass the logical mind. At 3 a.m., you do exactly that. That's why words spoken in this hour carry more power. That's why declarations echo louder in your soul, because the gatekeeper, your ego, is asleep, and your soul is finally listening. Want to manifest faster? Speak during theta. Want to heal old wounds? Visualize during theta. Want to receive divine ideas? Ask during theta. Because this is when your brain chemistry matches heaven's frequency. Cortisol is low, melatonin is still active, your nervous system is calm. And in this peace, revelation flows. So stop calling it just a weird wake-up. It's your highest neuro-spiritual access point. Even elite performers know this. Top CEOs, Olympic athletes, monks, and spiritual leaders all guard this early hour. Why? Because it's where vision is downloaded, where resistance is low, where reality becomes bendable. In this space, your mind stops reacting and starts creating. And your spirit, it starts remembering who you are, why you're here, and what's next. So here's your practical takeaway. Use this time with intention. Set an affirmation you repeat every morning, right when you wake. Ask God and your subconscious, what do I need to see that I'm blind to? Visualize your future self. Feel it, speak it, anchor it. Because these tiny moments are not tiny. They're cosmic code injections. They're blueprint upgrades. They're spiritual programming sessions. You are not a random creature having spiritual experiences. You are a divine being, encoded with both soul and circuitry. And when you honor the timing of your biology and your spirit, you become unstoppable. You heal faster. You manifest clearer. You lead bolder. Because you're not just reading verses or repeating affirmations. You're aligning your neurobiology with your divine design. So the next time you wake at 3:01 a.m., smile. You're not broken. You're being recalibrated. And your brain, your soul, and your future are finally in sync. This is no accident. This is sacred science. Chapter 10. The 3 a.m. Ritual Blueprint. You've heard the calling. You understand the science. You've felt the shift in your soul. Now, it's time to build the habit. Because revelation without routine becomes regret. So here it is, your daily 3 a.m. activation formula. a 10-step system to unlock clarity, peace, power, and divine alignment every morning. No fluff, just sacred structure. Step 1. Wake with honor, not panic. Don't jolt out of bed like it's a fire alarm. Breathe slowly. Recognize this wake-up as a divine invitation, not a random accident. Whisper, God, I'm listening. Thank you for waking me. This awareness sets the tone for everything that follows. Step 2. Place your hand on your heart. This anchors you into your body. It brings your attention out of overthinking and into being. Then say silently or out loud, I am present. I am safe. I am available. This activates both safety and receptivity in your nervous system. Step 3. Speak a battle prayer out loud. Now it's time for spiritual warfare. Command the atmosphere. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I cancel every assignment of the enemy over my life. This house is covered by the blood of Christ. Use your voice. Silence is surrender, but your voice is your victory. Step 4. Play high-frequency worship or instrumentals. Don't scroll, don't start your to-do list. Let sound cleanse your space. Use instrumental worship, prophetic piano, or deep theta music. Frequency elevates frequency. Your soul and brain respond to vibration. Step 5. Journal whatever drops in your spirit. Keep a journal or notes app open. Ask, God, what do you want me to see today? What's in my heart that I've been ignoring? Don't filter, just flow. Let the subconscious speak before your logic wakes up. You'll be surprised what truths rise to the surface. Step 6. Declare 3 affirmations into the air. Now it's time to program your subconscious. Choose 3 that hit your soul. 1. I walk in divine favor and protection. 2. I am healed, whole, and chosen. 3. Opportunities chase me. Peace leads me. Purpose anchors me. Speak them with fire and believe every word. Step 7. Visualize your future from a heavenly view. Close your eyes. Imagine the highest version of you, not chasing, not surviving, but walking in legacy. See it clearly, where you live, how you speak, what peace feels like. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. This is manifestation with heaven's vision. Step 8. Ask one question that changes everything. Ask, what part of me must die today so my destiny can live? Or, what assignment do you have for me today? This transforms your day from routine to revelation. Let divine instruction guide you, not your to-do list. Step 9. Sit in stillness for 3 minutes. No words, no music, no movement. Let what you've received settle into your soul. This is where whispers turn into knowing. This is where peace enters your bloodstream. This is where heaven imprints your heart. Silence is where spirit finishes what your voice began. Step 10. Close with a walking decree. As you go into your day, speak this out loud. I walk in divine rhythm. My steps are ordered. Nothing missing, nothing broken, only grace upon grace. Repeat it as you brush your teeth, tie your shoes, open the door. Let your body carry the frequency of your faith. Because now you're not just awake, you're armed, aligned, activated. Final word. This is your formula, your anchor, your soul's daily blueprint. Use it, guard it, master it, and watch how every area of your life begins to rise in supernatural alignment. Because if you win the hour between 3 and 5, you don't just win the morning, you win the month, you win your mission, you win the war. Conclusion. You are the chosen one who wakes in the dark. This awakening, it's not a glitch, it's not random, and it's definitely not just your bladder. You didn't wake up at 3:17 a.m. for no reason. You were pulled out of sleep by something far greater than you. Not by noise, but by purpose, not by fear, but by assignment. Because there's something happening in the spirit, and you were chosen to see it, to hear it, to rise into it. You're not just a person waking up. You're a soul being summoned. Summoned because there's warfare around your promise. There's prophecy hovering over your bloodline. There's a calling inside you that can't wait until daylight. God doesn't send reminders. He sends wake-up calls. And this one was for you. You feel it in your chest, that slight tug. that divine restlessness, that unexplainable whisper that says, "Sit up, I want to speak with you." So tonight, when that moment comes again, don't scroll, don't reach for distraction, don't whisper later to the Creator. Instead, sit up, breathe, and whisper His name. Because the moment you say, "Lord, I'm listening," heaven leans in, and everything begins to shift. Your peace returns, your clarity awakens, and your day begins not with chaos but with calling. You weren't just called to wake up, you were called to wake others. You are the one who rises in darkness, so others can see the light. And when you say yes to this hour, you're not just changing your schedule, you're changing your legacy. You're not responding to a moment, you're stepping into your mission. And it begins not with noise, but with surrender. Because the night doesn't just reveal who's tired, it reveals who's chosen. The world sleeps, but the watchman rises. And now, that watchman is you. Comment below, "I will rise when He calls me." Let heaven and hell both see that your answer is yes. Share this video with someone who keeps waking up at odd hours but doesn't know why. They're not being disturbed, they're being called, and your share might wake up their spirit. And tonight, when your eyes open at 3:11 a.m., or 4:44 a.m., or 5:00 a.m., don't ignore it, because the blessing is already knocking. The question is, will you answer? This isn't just another video, this is a trumpet, a divine broadcast, a soul summon, and you are the watchman who just got activated. The world may be asleep, but you are not. Your time is now, your mission has begun. Say yes, and walk boldly into your calling, one sacred morning at a time.